So yeah, we're gonna start talking about Defenders right now. But Patrick, since he hasn't seen it, is gonna sign off right now, so we don't spoil it for him.
That's right. I appreciate that, guys. I'm still on Luke Cage. Got to go to Jessica Jones, and then I'll be watching Defenders.
So Patrick can't even listen to this podcast tomorrow.
Nope, can't do. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, later, guys. Later.
So Brian got all caught up over the weekend. I mean, it's only 8 episodes, so it's not really that hard, right? Like, I think I watched on the Friday. I watched 2 episodes, and then Saturday in the morning, I think I watched 2 more, and then that night I watched the last 4 when I got back home. So it doesn't take too long to watch it. Did you just do it all in one sitting, Brian, or?
No, it was over 2 days. Yeah, I think I watched like 3 episodes in one sitting once, and then the other 5 the next day.
Week. I saw it twice in the same weekend.
That might be a little bit painful.
I know. Watch a show and then
it started Friday. So remember, it was released Friday. So I actually saw 3.5 episodes on Friday towards Saturday, and I kind of fell asleep. So on the third and a half, I was already like, oh, I can't do it. And I fell asleep. But then Saturday. Oh, wait. Did it come out Thursday? It came out Thursday night.
Right. Yeah. It came out midnight. Yeah. So since we all saw it all the way through, just overall, what'd you think, Brian? What'd you think of it overall as the whole season?
I thought it was okay. Like if I were to give it a score, I would give it about a 7. So Iron Fist still holds everything down. I don't like that the story revolves around him. Like he's the key to the whole story. And I guess we'll go into the details later, but I just thought it was okay. I was like, maybe my expectations were a little bit too high, but I wanted more things to happen on the show. But yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later.
So 7 out of 10. So okay, not the best.
I mean, it's not bad. It means like you should watch it once at least. But I'm not blown away or anything.
All right. What'd you think, Jesse? I know you watched it twice.
Well, I kind of liked it. I'd probably give it an 8 more than a 7, but I agree with him. I kind of didn't like that they focused on the Iron Fist just because of the fact that it was the weakest one of the shows. I kind of came in thinking, like, I had high expectations for it, but I also thought, okay, they're going to fuck it up because Iron Fist sucked. so I kind of came in thinking, okay, it's going to suck, and it actually did well. The first couple episodes are a little slow, but that's because of the fact that new people, I think that they're doing it to reintroduce all the characters. I think, you talked about this, the actor for Iron Fist does a better job with the martial arts aspect because he's obviously had more time to get into his role. So yeah, I mean, I liked it much better than Iron Fist, though. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wish that there was a couple more episodes because I think the storyline was a little bit too rushed towards the end. There was a lot of the whole part where it was like, what the fuck? What just happened? Like the last episode was a little bit too rushed, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I like the general storyline and plus the way they left it open for what's gonna kind of happen. I kind of wish that they would have done a cameo for Punisher, like something, just a mention or something. But that didn't happen. You do see the Stanley cameo in there, but I liked it. Like I said, I liked it enough to watch it twice.
Yeah, I think I'm more on the side with Brian. I think it's all right. If there was a 7 out of 10, sounds about right. Yeah, you can watch it once just to see them all together. Because there were good things and then there were bad things. So we'll break them down right now. But seeing it once just to see them all together is worth it. I definitely thought that it was going to be a stronger series because I was like, wow, all of them together, it better be epic, right? If you're bringing all 4 together. And Daredevil and Jessica Jones were pretty epic shows on their own. Luke Cage, we talked about it before. It's about half a good season. So, like, you think, man, those seasons were so good that this better be freaking really good. And it wasn't. It wasn't bad. Like I said, we know what bad is. We know Iron Fist was really bad. But this isn't that good either. It doesn't hold up to Daredevil and Jessica Jones. for me, the big. So I'll start off with a negative, and then we'll finish stronger with the positives. But for me, the big negative was the villains. The Hand really didn't come off as formidable. I don't know what you guys thought, but I didn't really buy them as being this big dangerous threat, especially how they were built up so much in Daredevil season 2. Like they were really, really scary guys. Like remember they were capturing, they were kidnapping kids and they were draining their blood to resurrect, which ended up being Elektra. Nobu was like super, super badass ninja who took Daredevil to his limits. And they were really, and then there was a lot of mystery behind them. And then when they revealed the mystery, and it's like, oh, it's not that impressive. So for me, that's what did it for me was the villains didn't really stand out as much as I thought they were going to. And bringing in Sigourney Weaver, who she's one of my favorites, probably my favorite actress ever. I mean, she did fine in her role, but they didn't really give her much to do. Like, I thought she was going to be the main villain. Like, she was going to be the one controlling everything, and she really wasn't. She was a member. She's a member of the Hand. She's part of the Five Fingers. So you have the 5 generals, I guess, of the Hand, and she was one of them. And she was kind of in charge. They all kind of looked for her for guidance, but since they were all in charge of their own armies, I guess you would say, and they were all undead with powers, like, they weren't afraid of her. Like, they weren't like, oh, whatever you say. Like, they were challenging her the whole time, questioning if she should be in charge. So you kind of took away from her authority. So I thought she was going to be the big bad, Kingpin style, but she really wasn't. She was just a part of a group. Even that was kind of a little disappointing to me too. And when they fight the Defenders just kind of kick their butts pretty easy. Like I said, they just didn't seem that dangerous. And the fight scenes, I think, weren't on par with Daredevil. Some of them were. Some of the fight scenes were really cool, and some of them were kind of weak. Definitely not on par in the Daredevil fight scenes. Those are always great. So that for me was a big hit. I thought especially when you have someone like Kingpin and the Purple Man, Kilgrave, like villains like that who were amazing, who kind of set the bar really high, and then these guys, the Hand ended up not reaching that level. I guess I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. What did you think, Brian?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like they're a lot weaker now, right? Like the Hand, at least like what they show. I was talking to you today about like how they, Stick was mentioning all 5 fingers and like how deadly they are. Like the guy from Africa, like he's really badass, but then he ends up getting captured by Luke Cage, which they show off camera, which I thought was kind of lame. And then the Japanese guy, I forget his name, he's like the guy behind Nobu, so you would figure he's like completely badass. Yeah,
when they say that, he was pulling Nobu strings, like, oh, what?
Yeah, and then they show that scene where he's like gutting a bear that he fought and killed, and then when he fought, like, when he was fighting in the cave, he fought against Luke Cage, who he can't even hurt, so it made him like kind of useless. Like he wasn't that badass. Like if he fought against Daredevil, I think they could have put a better fight scene together versus him just punching a guy that he can't hurt, and then Luke Cage just tossing him up to the side, and then he eventually just falls in and gets killed in quotations, right? You don't know if they really die or not.
Yeah, with the Hand, you don't know.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, right? Like with this whole substance thing, like you can kill these characters, but they can always come back. Like that other guy from Iron Fist.
Yeah, Bakudo. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you cut their head off. But other than that, like if they die, they can always come back. So like it's not that important for these guys to die. Like there's no importance for their death. Like it's pretty much like, oh don't worry about it. They'll probably come back. So it kind of cheapens the whole thing about like killing them. And I get that it's hard for the writers to kill the good guys because you can't kill them. It's not like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. So it's kind of hard to write around that. I think they still could have put together some better fight scenes and make the Hand stronger. And like what you said about Sigourney Weaver, like I thought she would be she is the leader, right? Like they all look to her, even though they hinted at they try to betray her many times in the past. Her main thing is that she wasted all of the resource, the skeleton resources to bring the Black Sky, and then the Black Sky was just like pretty much Elektra with still hints of Elektra inside. So like how does that show her leadership, right? Like she has a weapon, but then like that weapon didn't really do anything to help the Hand, really. Like she's traveling all over the world. Like they started the show with her in Cambodia. I don't know why, right? Like I guess she's off killing all the monks. But Well, what's the point, right? Like you unleash the Black Sky, but you're just sending him out, killing like random monks all over the world. Like there should be a grander plan than that. Yeah, it just made the hand like a lot weaker than they really are. So I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, and then it turns out like we thought, from the the promos and stuff were saying that it was the battle for New York, right? That's what the whole promos was. The defenders are back. It's the battle for New York. So I came in thinking, okay, the Hand are trying to take over. Kingpin's gone. His empire's out the way. So the Hand are going to try and gain control. And really it wasn't. They were trying to get back home to Kunlun. That was their driving force. So it was kind of a swerve. And I was like, oh, wait, well, what does New York have to do with this? And what they were trying to do was that big hole that they dug in Daredevil season 2. Turns out that was at first they made it seem like it was a key to go back to Kunlun, but it wasn't. It was a stash of the dragon skeletons that they use to make the substance that resurrects the Hand. So what they were trying to do was just prolong their lives even further so they can finally get back to Kunlun. So that was kind of weird. It's kind of anticlimactic, like when they open the door and they trick Iron Fist because he's stupid. Or they trick him to opening it, and I thought they was gonna open the door to Kunlun, and I was like, "Oh snap, they're gonna go back." And it wasn't. It was just a gravesite, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then they start digging out all the bones and stuff. So yeah, just kind of weird, a weird group of villains, weird motives that I don't think it really paid off. I was like, I don't really buy it. And then yeah, like you said, the Japanese guy, he's a badass fighter, but then he goes up against the one guy who can't hurt. Murakami, that's his name. So he fights Luke Cage. Luke Cage just throws him aside because he can't hurt him. So it makes him look weak, even though he's not. And then Bakudo, right? He goes after his old student, right? He fights Colleen and Misty Knight and Claire. He spits off on his own to fight them, and then they beat him up. And then Madame Gao just kind of disappeared, right? Like I don't even know what happened to Madame Gao.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the slick one, right? Like she always knows the right time to run and all that. So, like, in this one, they're showing her power where she can kind of hit things with a chi type thing where she can push heavy objects. How come she didn't do that when she was captured on Iron Fist? Like why she show her power now? It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's not consistent,
Yeah, I'm not sure if she was, like, just an Iron Fist. She just didn't care. Like, I can break out. I just don't want to. I don't really know if that's the case, or until Defender's like, oh, hey, by the way, she has Force Push. Like, oh, she couldn't, we could have used that in Iron Fist.
They wasted like 2 episodes when she was tied up and she was just trying to like brainwash the two to turn on each other or to let her go.
Yeah.
Like all these like devices just to like keep the show going, but like it's boring to the viewers. It's stupid.
Yeah. So that was my big complaint was the Hand itself. And they built them up so well in Daredevil, right? Like they looked like they were going to be a major force, and then it was just kind of
be a major force when Punisher took them all out.
It wasn't. He didn't take them. He didn't take them all out. There was like 5 guys.
That was it. They only had enough budget for. Remember, there's only so many bullets that they can budget for. The reason why that guy they were in Cambodia was because Elektra was going after the Chase. Remember, that's the whole thing. The Stick was the last of the Chase that was left alive, so her mission was to go and get rid of everyone from the Chase, which was the army that contradicts the Hand. So that's her role. So that's the reason why she's there. The thing with the Hand, I agree with you guys. They should have been stronger, and who knows why? I mean, because they're supposed to be like a horde, a big army, right? It's like almost like a continuous army.
Yeah, it's a huge army
in the comics.
Yeah.
So that I also agree with. I don't understand why they didn't have a large army. And then that would have been made for better fight scenes. But I think some of the fight scenes that they had were actually not bad. I like the fight scene against Daredevil or Matt Murdock versus Iron Fist. I like I was telling John when I was after he had seen it or whatever that it seemed like Daredevil was much more skilled, which was kind of weird because Matt Murdock was taught by Stick later on versus Iron Fist. Danny Rand, he's been getting training since he was a kid at 10 years old or whatever.
Well, no, Stick took over Daredevil when he was a kid too.
Yeah, but I would say that Matt Murdock was probably a little bit older.
If it was like a year or two. It wasn't a big difference. He was still really young.
Okay, but either way, you're talking about the difference between Stick teaching him maybe after school versus these fucking monks beating the shit out of this kid and brainwashing him. And not only that, he was being trained to go ahead and become the Iron Fist. He was supposed to go and kill a fucking dragon, versus Stick teaching just a little kid to. He's more of a street brawler. He has martial arts, but he's more of a martial arts slash street brawler. Versus, I would think Danny Rand would be more of a concrete, Confucius type martial arts type of training. So that's either way. Like,
yeah,
to me,
it is, but it stays true to the comics. Daredevil is better than Iron Fist. That's just how it is in the comics. They fought each other before, and Daredevil always beats them. So
yeah,
that stays in true.
I kind of like the fight scene. You can tell the difference that they put the difference into the show. Daredevil. To me, it's like, fuck, you got this black guy beating the shit out of this guy who has powers. Supposedly. So
yeah, but Daredevil can see. He has the radar sense, so he can still see. It's not like he can't see anything. He can see where he's at. He sees him.
I still think the fight scene was good.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying to save that for my. I'm trying to save that for my positives. But no, Daredevil's better than Iron Fist, so he should win all the time.
What was I was going to say next? Yeah, they fucked up on Alexandra a lot. Like you said, when we saw previews, you saw her as a big boss type, Kingpin style. She's like the big bitch, and then just like Brian was saying, she's being undermined by her lieutenants. They've even talked about that there was previous attempts of coups to dethrone her, and obviously it hasn't worked. I also agree that the fight with the South African guy, it's like that would have been a cool fight to see. It was starting, like, you were starting to see that fight, and all of a sudden he gets hit by the fucking bus or truck, and they fight off screen. I'm like, what the fuck? What I did like is that Foggy gave what's named Daredevil the suit, even though he kind of had his own side reason. He still kind of seemed a little bit more involved. He wasn't such a whiny little bitch like, oh, don't do this. He kind of even told the girls like he has to do this. He has to save the city. So let's see what else.
Trying to say negatives here, but start trying to see with the negatives.
Negatives. Well, that's what I'm thinking with the negatives. The Asian guy, same thing. The conversation he's having with Alexandra, he seems like he's such a badass. Like he's like the methodical badass type. Like I don't know. Like to me, he seemed impulsive more than I expected from him. Like he should have been more playing with Daredevil when they fought, or like you said, he should have chosen differently his opponent when he was down in the cage. It just, I don't know. I don't know if there was a perfect way to match the villains and the heroes. I mean, who would he have fought better? Jessica Jones, Daredevil. Who would we have had a better reaction with? So yeah. I don't know if it was maybe the villains versus the heroes. You couldn't make a good match. Like with Daredevil, I think we would have seen a good fight no matter who he was fighting. Because he knows martial arts, and it seemed like all the other villains did too. So Madame Gao was the only one that was using more like force. So maybe Luke Cage and her would have been a good match. I don't know. Let's see what another negative thing. The beginning, the first 2 episodes, like I said, I just didn't like how long it was.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next point too. Was that for a show that's only 8 episodes, it took them forever to get together. I think they don't get together completely until the end of episode 3, and it's like, man, it's only 8 episodes. Like we gotta get this cracking here, and every episode needs to count. Kind of like Game of Thrones. Like this last season was only 7, so the first episode not a lot happened, but every episode after that was a big deal. So that's what I was expecting with Defenders, is that maybe the first episode you kind of do a recap, get them all together, and then bam, just get the story going. But they don't. I think Danny and Luke Cage meet each other in episode 2, and then I think they're all together in the restaurant, I think in episode 3. So that's like 3 episodes of build up, which kind of took forever. It's like, look, we only got 8 episodes to go. That they should have got together sooner.
We didn't need we didn't need to see anything about Trish or the other support staff. We didn't have to see that part with Jessica Jones talks to the lawyer. I mean, like, there was parts where it's just like filler, and it was is it really that important to the story for them to have given us those extra 10-15 minutes where it could have been a fight scene, or more focus on, because at the end of Iron Fist you see Kang Lao is like destroyed, right? Like,
Kunlun.
it's just gone. Kanglan, I'm sorry, it's just missing. It's gone, right? And like you said, or you theorized that the reason why that they want to get more substance is they want to go ahead and prolong life, because the entrance comes every so many years. Was it every 10, 15, 20 years?
It's like every 10 years, yeah.
So obviously they want to go ahead and go. They assume that it's been destroyed. Now they're going to go ahead and go back for the door open and just walk in and just kind of take over the broken city. So that's what it seems like. But of course they need to get that substance, which is the dragon bones. How the fuck do they have a dead dragon in New York? Like, I don't know, that's a comic book thing or whatever, but that didn't make sense to me. It's like, I understand, like, they were saying that they have them worldwide, that they've gotten substance, and then New York was the next one. Like, I guess Chernobyl, and what was the other place? Pompeii.
Yeah, those are all
were destroyed. They were destroyed because obviously they went mining for this dragon bone. But it's like,
what do you think, Brian?
Yeah.
What other?
Yeah, I didn't like the slow start too. Same reasons, right? Like, there's only 8 episodes. You waste like 2.5, 3 episodes getting them together, and then, like Jesse said earlier, like, and then the end sort of feels rushed. Like, especially when Elektra takes over, that's like already like halfway through episode 7. If she took over as the leader of the Hand, like, she could have done some stuff, right? Like, to make the defenders' like lives a lot more miserable. They could have gone out, do a lot of damage, but instead, like, as soon as she took over, she took the elevator down to get the dragon bone. It's like it's wasted, like her leadership was wasted, and then they just kill Alexandra, which is like another thing where they just start killing off these like villains, and then you can't bring them back, right? So it makes it difficult for them to bring back good villains. You pretty much wasted that possibility. But then, like I said earlier, you have the substance, so you can always bring these people back. But then it just kind of cheapens their death again. So yeah, just the slow start, and then the rushed ending, and then some of the fight scenes I didn't really like. Like, you guys were talking about like how Daredevil should beat like Iron Fist, but if like martial arts is your skill, your talent, like, you should be a better fighter. And like, because like when they have fight scenes compared to Daredevil looks like a much better fighter, even though he has like armor and weapons and things like that. But just on camera, it looks like Iron Fist is still trying to find his way to learn how to fight and everything. And then, like, it was also surprising that like Iron Fist doesn't know anything about his past, like, and then like Stick has to tell him, which is more like information for the viewer, where you just have to sit through and just listen to the story, when they could have just shown it differently without having to like sit them down at a table and then spend 20 minutes like talking about it. So there are a lot of like these filler conversation type parts where I felt like it wasn't that interesting to get anything useful out of it. So yeah, it's just like there's it's like it's spread out, it's sprinkled across. It's not like every scene is bad or every episode is bad. It's like there's good parts. Most of it is good, but then there's a lot of these like slow parts as well.
Yeah, so I think that's covered all the negative stuff, and we're kind of bashed it for a little while. But there was actually some good stuff, a lot of good stuff on the show, as we're seeing. And I think for me, the strongest part of the show was when they were all actually together. The actors all had really, really good chemistry together. Even Iron Fist, even though he's the worst one and he sucks, he was actually pretty good when they were all together. When he's on his own, he's pretty weak. You can still see it. But together, they were all pretty good. They were bantering with each other, going off back and forth. And you can even see, even the characters are making fun of Iron Fist for sucking. I don't know if you guys picked that up. Like, Jessica Jones was like, hey, who brought the skinny white dude? Stuff like that. Like, they're just kind of clowning him the whole time. It worked. Like, he was just like, whatever, guys. And you can see them working together, and you can even see the budding relationship between Luke Cage and Iron Fist, because in the comics they're best friends and they run the Heroes for Hire. So you can see that they paired them together, and they worked well together. The two actors, you can tell that they like each other and stuff. So, and it was funny where Iron Fist was like, "I'm the immortal Iron Fist, Defender Kunlun," and Luke Cage is like, "What?" Like, he's like, "Get out of here." He doesn't take him seriously, and he has to work to prove it to him. But it was a lot of fun stuff. I wish that's one of the reasons why I wish they had gotten together right away from episode 1, because they were so good together. And it would have made the whole series like way more enjoyable if it was just them 4 together all the time. And Jessica Jones, it was good to see her because we haven't seen her since her own series, right? And that was 2 years ago. She was the second season, and we haven't seen her since then. Some of the other characters kind of bounce around in their respective series, but not her. She was just in season 2, and that's it. So it was good to see her again because she's pretty awesome. Like, she had the best one-liners on the show, I think. Remember, like, at the end when they were on the or towards the last episode when they're on the subway and she takes the beer from the homeless guy and she's like, "What? It's been a long week," and she straight up just drinks that homeless guy's beer, like stuff like that. Like, that was stuff like that was really, really good. And I just wish that they had started that off from the get go. And you can see Daredevil being the natural leader of the group. There was even that scene where Stick was telling him, "Hey, you got to take over. This Iron Fist is not. He's just a kid who doesn't know what he's doing. You need to take over and run this team." And Daredevil was like, no, he's the Iron Fist. He's the weapon of the hand. And Stick's like, "Shut up. You need to take over." And he does. And they follow him the rest of the show. And that was a cool moment, too. What we didn't mention was that at the end of Daredevil Season 2, he had showed Karen, right? That was the big cliffhanger. And when this starts up, he looks like he retired as Daredevil. He's just being a lawyer. He's just focusing on that. When the show kicks off, he's fighting in his civilian clothes and stuff. And when he puts on the outfit, which I think was episode 3 or 4? Do you remember?
It was the end of 3rd, I think.
Yeah, he shows up, he puts on the costume, and it's like a big, like, whoa. It actually came off really, really strong. I really liked that part. He showed up in his costume. You could see them all kind of like, oh, shit. Like, because they all knew who he was. He told them, "I'm not."
Jessica Jones talk shit too.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about Jessica. Is like, I like the ears.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, nice ears." Yeah. Nice ears. Yeah, so I mean, she was great. Jessica Jones was great. But yeah, but you could see it. They were like, "Oh man, that's Daredevil," because he told them who he was. He's like, "I'm Matt Murdock, Daredevil." But then when they actually saw him in the suit, they were like, "Oh shit!" And then remember he throws his billy club around White Hat's his neck, and Iron Fist is like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, they all just gave him his props, like, of who he was, and they all naturally followed him. So that was really cool. That came off really well, I thought. Like, I didn't think it would, because I'm like, "Oh, it's Daredevil. I know who he is." But when he showed up in the suit, was really brutal with that guy. Like, oh man, there we go. This is what I've been missing. So that part was really cool. Yeah, and then Jesse mentioned it earlier. I really like where Foggy finally gave in. Right, he wasn't being a bitch about it anymore. He brought Matt the suit and was like, "Here, you're Daredevil. The city needs you." And it was like, finally, like, it only took, how many seasons of these shows for Foggy to finally just to let in and let Matt be Daredevil. And he realized that Matt needs to be Daredevil and the city needs him. And he quit complaining about it. So yeah, that was really cool. And yeah, the fight scenes, and Jesse, you were mentioning this one too. The Daredevil versus Iron Fist was actually a good fight scene. That was actually a really well done scene. It was like they were talking junk and finally went, "All right, let's do this." And they just start fighting. And Luke Cage was just watching, right? He was just kind of sitting there. And they put out a good fight scene. That was one of the better fight scenes of the show. And then
I thought so. I think it focused on the fact that how Iron Fist is still immature and how Daredevil should be the leader of the group. Obviously they don't want to become a group, but you see that they have to become a group, at least in this situation.
Yeah. Another cool fight scene I thought was that the first time they get together in the office building, and when Iron Fist, when he confronts Alexandra straight up, he's like, "You guys are the Hand. I'm here to stop you." And then it's funny, they all got there at for different reasons, but they all got there at the same time, and they start fighting the Hand. You had a scene where two guys bring out machine guns, and they start blasting Luke Cage, and he just stands there, and Danny runs behind him, uses him as a shield, and then jumps out when they're reloading. And then Daredevil and Jessica Jones are working together, and they have the fights, they have like the hallway scene like they do in every episode, every season, and the camera's going around and they're all fighting their different styles. It was really cool. And they even used Iron Fist, his power, in a cool way, where Elektra, when she showed up, she swings down with her knife or her sword, and he punches with his fist and it breaks the sword. But not only that, but he has his chi forced her through the wall. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, because they didn't do that in Iron Fist. So they expanded on his powers a lot too, and that much I thought helped him a little bit at least. I think even in the final battle in the building, Luke Cage tells him to light him up, and he brings up his chi, and then he just punches the air and he shoves everyone back, like 20 people. He shoves them all back to the air. It was cool that they came up with ways to use his powers more creatively and made it more visually exciting. So that way he didn't suck as much as the show, and which I think this show realized, like, hey, this guy, he didn't make a lot of fans. Let's amp his powers up and stuff. Yeah, I mean that stuff was really cool. I think that they made a really good team, and they were a natural fit as characters and as actors. That's what I thought anyway.
Yeah, I like how when they show each scene or each character, like for Jessica Jones, like the color's a lot cooler. And with like Luke Cage, it's warmer, and then there's like hip hop music and stuff, especially in the beginning. And then Daredevil's like has more of the red color. Iron Fist, I didn't notice any color difference. I think they just use a normal filter. So I like that they had a different, like, so you kind of know like who the camera's focused on, or who that scene is focused on by color, the way it's filmed.
Yeah, I did notice that whenever they showed Jessica, you kind of saw a purple tint.
Yeah.
And then when they showed Luke, you saw yellow.
Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice. That was cool.
Yeah, and then Daredevil a little bit red.
Yeah.
Some places. Yeah, and their chemistry was really good together. One scene, and like you mentioned, the fight scenes were pretty good. And yeah, they were pretty good. And I like that they all fought like their own style. There's like one part where the Japanese guy attacks Jessica Jones, and then Daredevil comes out and saves her. Or it could be the other way around. And like she's just standing there because she doesn't know kung fu, right? So she doesn't know what to do, so she's just standing to the side, and she wants to help, but she can't fight. So I don't know if you guys remember that part or not. It was like on episode 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah, doesn't she even say it? She's like, "Am I the only one here who doesn't know kung fu?" Like something like that.
Yeah. And then when she sees Elektra in the end, she's like since she's shown up, it's been like kung fu shit show or something.
Yeah,
like that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So they're all pretty funny. Yeah, and they all like work pretty well together on camera. Like I didn't see any weirdness or any awkwardness between them. Yeah, I mean it's just like like we were talking about the negatives earlier, but those are the kind of things that kind of drags the show down a little bit. But there are a lot of positives. I just want to throw back in one negative. If Punisher just made a quick cameo, even if it was like something to kind of like tease like his show, or just to make a quick appearance to remind people that he's still around. I think that was missed. I think that would have helped with the show a little bit, especially towards the end.
Yeah, he was such a strong character in Daredevil that, yeah, I think he would have helped too. Just anything. Even if it was just one episode, just something where he's helping them out, and not even like I don't even think like Daredevil would never call him for help, but if he just showed up. And Daredevil was like, "Oh, great! Here's Punisher," and then he helps him, and then I'll deal with you later, or something. Just something would have been, it would have been cool to see.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver, she was awesome. I still just didn't like the way she was killed off. So, like, her acting was really good. Like, I think they should have made her a stronger leader, where the other fingers kind of like respect her or fear her a little bit.
Yeah,
but they didn't do that, so it feels a little bit wasted. But her performance was awesome. Yeah,
she did just fine.
And Electro is pretty good too. I mean, I think she's pretty good as like the character at least, or the actor. Like the way she was kind of like getting back her memory, and then kind of playing both sides. I thought that was pretty good to kind of throw the viewers off, whether you knew whether you could tell if she was like good or bad or not. But like you didn't really know until the end, even though like she hesitated killing Matt every single time. So, but still, it kind of left you guessing. So I thought that was pretty good. But...
Yeah, and I think the way they explained that was that she wasn't supposed to be the Black Sky. The Black Sky was that kid from Daredevil, and Elektra just straight up just went, "Well, I'm gonna make her the Black Sky." So it was a flawed process, and that's why it didn't quite take. And her memories were coming in and out when they weren't supposed to be. So it was kind of cool that they didn't forget about that kid from, I think it was season 2, or maybe in season 1. Actually, I think it was season 1, that he was supposed to be the Black Sky. He was raised to be the Black Sky, and she forced it on someone else and it didn't work. So that was actually pretty cool that they tied that together. And what I like about it is too is that they really amped up Elektra's fighting ability. So in the comics, Elektra is like one of the baddest fighters in the Marvel universe. When she shows up, it's never good news. Wolverine hates it when she shows up. And you know, I've said it before. I think I was talked about it with you guys offline. That in the cinematic universe, Black Widow is like the baddest chick around. Or in the comics, it's Elektra. And in this season, you saw what they did to her, and it's like, okay, now she's up at that level. And in that very first episode where Iron Fist was fighting her, when she had her hood on, you really couldn't tell who it was. And she was super fast with her swords, and then takes off, and Iron Fist is like, whoa, I never fought anyone that fast. And it ended up being Elektra. And I was like, oh, right, that's cool. They made her super dangerous. They made her more dangerous than what she was. And which I think is in line with comics anyway, because when she showed up in the comics, was killed by Bullseye, and then resurrected by the Hand, it made her more dangerous. And then with her killing Alexandra and taking over the Hand, that's pretty similar to what happened in the comics as well. She took over the Hand for a while. But yeah, they really made her a formidable foe to where she was able to fight. I don't know if she fought all of them heads up. I don't think she did, right? Because I don't remember her interacting with like Jessica Jones. I don't think they fought. I know she fought. I think she was fighting Luke Cage with their swords, and that was cool too. He was blocking it with his hands, like he was like sword fighting with his arms. And you see the sparks and stuff coming off his arms. That was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I like they did that. They really pumped up Elektra to make her as dangerous as she should be. So I was pretty happy with that too.
When Iron Fist just goes up to Midland Circle in front of the boardroom and try to say, I have money now, I can stop you guys. Like, I thought that was really stupid for him to just walk in there thinking like you can control the situation. So
I actually thought that was in character because he is dumb. Yeah, so I kind of bought. I'm like,
it just felt really stupid. Like,
yeah,
that's like such a dumb thing to do, you know?
Yeah, and I actually like that part because he is dumb. He's a dumb guy. He doesn't know. So for him to do that was dumb. But I also thought I actually bought it. I was like, no, that's what he would do because he thinks he has money. And he thinks this is how things work, and he doesn't know. So I actually thought that was cool. And then that set up the big fight scene.
Yeah. So
it was dumb, but I think it was on purpose. That it was purposely dumb. There was one thing that I like that you guys probably won't pick up on, but this is kind of ended the season on a high note for me. Was that last shot of Matt in bed when he's all bandaged up, and they asked for Maggie, and that's his mom. That's who has been absent from the whole series. His mom became a nun, so they tell her to bring him in. But the significance of that shot is that was the first opening shot for a story called Born Again, and which is considered the best Daredevil story ever, and one of the best Marvel stories ever. Period. So if that shot is going to lead into Daredevil season 3 and it's Born Again, oh man, that'll be. It's a huge war between Daredevil and Kingpin.
And it's Frank Miller.
It's Frank Miller. It's up from the classic Frank Miller run. Right before Defenders, I rewatched Daredevil season 2. And there was a scene in there where Kingpin says, the next time I see you, I'm going to break you. I'm going to bring your world down. And that's basically what he does in Daredevil Born Again. And you add in Bullseye, which they've pretty much confirmed will be in season 3. And man, if it is Born Again, you guys are going to be in for like some good stuff. That storyline is amazing. And so for me, you know, the way the story ended with the Hand, I was like, it's kind of weak. And then they ended it with that shot. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, shit. Here comes Born Again. And I got super excited right away. So Daredevil Season 3, which was confirmed, I think will be next year. I'm hoping it's Born Again. If it is, man, that's going to be some good stuff.
I'm looking at, because I read about that earlier, too, how there's that Easter egg at the end. Because I was like, I don't get it. How did he get out of there, right? So I went online, and it talks about that Frank Miller storyline.
Yeah, because I think they use Nuke, which is maybe possible because they introduced Nuke and Jessica Jones, but I don't think so. I think they're going to use Bullseye instead of Nuke, bringing in Kingpin, who's always great, bringing in Bullseye, who Daredevil's other biggest enemy. And there's so much that goes on in that story. I don't even want to say because I don't want to spoil it for everybody because that story is so intense. That was a great way to end the season for me. A comic book fan, so it's just right away like, oh shit, and I got excited again. But yeah, so overall, I thought it was good, not great. Positives and negatives. If you want to check it out, just to see them all together and fighting, that's worth seeing. So yeah, I think Brian got it right. I think it was 7 out of 10 is probably about right. And then also, Jesse, you brought it up earlier. There was that Easter egg of the Punisher trailer at the end of during the credits. That looks really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks super intense. They didn't really give up a lot of what the story is going to be, but it's really intense. Looks like there's some flashbacks to when Frank was in the military. They've already announced who some of the villains are going to be, and I'm excited for that. The voiceover for that, he mentions the devil. The devil's coming, and it's not a literal devil, but that line kind of comes from another story called Punisher Born, where he got into his background when he's in the military and the stuff he did, and how he was basically already on the way to being the Punisher when he was in the military. He was already going insane, and that's some great stuff too. Really dark stuff. So, which is I would expect from the Punisher. So yeah, we don't know yet. We know it's sometime this year. Marvel they're playing coy with the release date. Even at the end of the trailer, you see the 2017, and then the day and month are like redacted. You're not showing it, so they're playing with this. I hopefully it's November, but that's the next one, and super excited for that one.
Is that the next one? They're not having another.
No, that's the next one. Next one's Punisher. And then I think Jessica Jones is next. Jessica Jones season 2. I think that's filming. I think it was filming at the same time as Daredevil, so it should be ready by the spring. So anything else you guys want to throw in about Defenders? So I think that wraps it up for us on this one. Stay tuned for our next one. I think we might have mentioned me and Patrick might have mentioned it on our last podcast. We were kind of waiting for Brian to get back so we can all do it together. But we wanted to do our favorite movie scenes. Just our favorite scenes throughout all our favorite movies that we've watched, and that one sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that one. We might get to that one next, but until then, that's it for us. So later, guys.